Hi, I'm Father Joseph Mary, and welcome back to A Simple Word. We reflect on the gospel for the coming Sunday. In Sunday's gospel from Mark, the apostles are returning. Jesus had sent them out 2 by 2 into all the nearby towns and villages to preach the gospel. And the response had been overwhelming. People flocked to hear them. There were miracles, healings, conversions, exorcisms. The response was so overwhelming that the apostles had no time even to eat. People were so hungry for the good news of Jesus Christ, so hungry for something real and true, something which explained to them the meaning of their lives, that they were like excited children when they finally heard it. They couldn't stay away. In fact, they followed the apostles back to Jesus himself. And when Jesus and the apostles sought refuge, the people hurried on foot and got there ahead of them. These people were desperate to hear the word of God. They were starving for the bread of life. And Jesus, looking on them, seeing their hunger, seeing their longing for the truth, says he has compassion on them because they're like sheep without a shepherd. They finally found the truth, and they don't want to lose it. They want to grab hold of it. They're thirsting for God. And how does Jesus quench this incredible thirst of theirs? The gospel tells us he began to teach them many things. In our own time, there's a great crisis, many crises in our faith. But there's so many people, so very many, who are seeking meaning and peace and happiness, but seeking it in the things of the world, and pleasure and drugs and pornography and money. There's so many people who don't know why they're alive. And so they live in a kind of spiritual darkness, not knowing who they are or what they're made for. In our time, there are so many people that are like sheep without a shepherd. And without even knowing it, they're yearning to hear the good news of Jesus Christ. For so long now, we've heard about the new evangelization, this new effort to bring the gospel to countries that were once evangelized but have lost their Christian identity. But John Paul II said that the new evangelization isn't simply about devising new techniques or promoting new methods, but it's essentially about a new ardor for holiness, a zeal to be saints. Without this, new evangelization doesn't mean anything. There's a story told that one day Mahatma Gandhi was walking together with a Presbyterian missionary through the streets of South Africa, and the two suddenly found their way blocked by some young thugs. The Presbyterian minister took one look at them and decided to run for it. But Gandhi stopped him, and he asked, "Does the New Testament say that if an enemy strikes you on the right cheek, you should turn and offer him the left as well?" Somewhat embarrassed by the question, the missionary mumbled, "It was only a metaphor." And Gandhi replied, "I'm not so sure it was. I suspect Jesus meant you must be willing to show courage, be willing to take a blow, even several, to show you won't strike back, nor will you be turned aside. And when you do that, it calls on something in human nature, something that makes his hatred decrease and his respect increase. I think Christ grasped that, and I've seen it work," said Gandhi. Gandhi would also say that he had great respect for Christianity. In fact, he read from the Bible every day, according to many stories. He would say, "I like your Christ, but your Christians are so unlike your Christ." The world today needs witnesses. And in today's gospel, we see how powerful is the witness of holiness. It draws others to Christ. By our charity, our patience, our humility, our sincerity, our works of service, we bear witness to Jesus Christ, and we become living signs that lead others to God. The world needs witnesses and Greek martyrs, those willing to sacrifice for the sake of the faith. So many young people, so many, in your classrooms and your circle of friends, they don't know why they're alive. And they're dying for meaning, for truth. There's an emptiness in them. They need something to give direction to their lives. Without knowing it, they're dying for you to bring them Jesus Christ, to bear witness, to be a martyr. Parents, your children, they thirst for Christ without knowing it. And you can make him visible by loving your spouse unconditionally, by sacrificial love, by patience in suffering, by perseverance through struggles. The world's full of lost, wandering sheep, and it needs disciples, martyrs, men and women who will live the gospel radically and unreservedly, who put Christ first, men and women who will lead the sheep to the shepherd. But we cannot do this. We cannot be genuine witnesses. We can't lead sheep to the shepherd of souls unless we ourselves first know the shepherd. And so Jesus tells us today, come away by yourselves to a quiet place and rest. This is essential and indispensable. We have to take time for prayer in our daily lives. We have to make room for God in our busy schedules. We have to learn to pray together again as individuals and as a family. We have to break open the Word of God, return to the confessional at least once a month. We have to encounter the love and mercy of God. Only then, when we ourselves have experienced his love, come to know the shepherd, can we be authentic witnesses to the gospel. There's a story told that when Mother Teresa was visiting one of the many convents she had established around the world, the superior of that convent told her, "Mother, the need here is so great. We don't have enough time to do our work with the poor. There's simply not enough hours in the day. There's so many of them. We need to add an hour extra for ministry." Mother Teresa nodded and responded, "Then you need to add another hour of prayer." And when they did, they somehow found that they had enough time to do even more for the poor of that city. And so this week, let's be certain to make time for prayer, for that daily personal relationship with Jesus Christ, to come away to a quiet place in our life and find rest in God. And in coming to know the Good Shepherd, then we can be true witnesses to his love in the world. I'm Father Joseph Mary, and thanks for listening to A Simple Word. If you found this reflection helpful, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.